We just spent 5 days visiting the city of Lagos, which features stunning beaches, dramatic cliffs, and a historic old town. After spending countless hours planning the trip, we're now providing you with all the essential information you'll need, including how do you get there, the food, cash or credit card, the language, can you drink the water, is it safe, when to go. I mean, really, if we don't cover all your questions and convince you to visit, I must be doing something wrong. I'm not saying we know more than the locals, but at this point the seagulls are starting to recognize us.
Mine?
This is the Lagos City Guide. Let's go!
I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life.
Good times, good times. Let's answer those questions. So how do you get there? If you're coming from the two large cities, Lisbon or Porto, you can either take a train, a bus, or fly into Faro Airport, which is still an hour-long drive away from Lagos. Well, what's the language? Portuguese is the official language of the country, but English is widely spoken throughout the city. Do you need a visa? If you're from Europe, the US, Canada, or the United Kingdom, you do not need a visa and can stay up to 90 days at a time. You will have to obtain a pre-travel document starting at the end of 2026, and it'll cost around $8 US. Can you drink the water? You can drink the tap water without any issue. The water does contain a higher level of minerals, so it might taste a little off, or your skin might be a little drier than usual. But here's a tip. In Portugal, restaurants are legally required to provide customers with free tap water when asked. When's the best time to visit? I've got 3 months. May, June, and September, but more on this later in the video. What's the power outlet? The standard Type F power socket is used in Portugal. American travelers will need to have an adapter. What's the currency? Portugal uses the European euro. So how do you get these so-called euros? The best option, which has the lowest fees, is withdrawing money from any ATM. You'll have no problem finding them all throughout the area. Just be sure to notify your bank before traveling internationally. Cash or credit card? After spending 5 days in Lagos, there was only one bakery that we saw where cash was only used. So feel free to bust out that credit or debit card. You know what that bell means. We're heading back to school for the quickest history lesson possible. The area was first settled by the Celtics over 4,000 years ago. Eventually the Romans conquered the region and created a thriving port. It was then conquered by Moorish rule, which is when the city walls were built. It was then conquered by Christian forces, which is when Lagos became a pivotal hub for exploring Africa and the Americas. It was then conquered by an earthquake. Well, let's just say in 1755, an earthquake and a tsunami wiped out most of the city, and it wasn't until 100 years later, when canned fishing production became a thing, that Lagos got back on its feet. Okay, history lesson's over, you can wake up now. What are the prices like? Compared to other coastal towns we've been in Europe, it's surprisingly
inexpensive.
Everything from food and transportation to dining and drinks, the prices are very affordable. Speaking of drinks, can you drink alcohol in public? That's a big yeppers.
What did I tell you about yeppers?
From the old town to the fantastic coastal beaches, you'll be able to drink in public, no problem. How long should you stay? We'd recommend staying a minimum of 3 days. This will give you enough time to explore the old town, a beach or two, and tour the cliffs. Is there tipping? Tipping in Portugal is 100% optional, but appreciated. We left a small 5% or so tip at about half the restaurants we ate at. Is it safe? Lagos is an extremely safe city with a low crime rate. We walked around at all hours of the day, including very early in the morning and super late at night, and never felt in any danger. Do you need to wear anything special? Nope. With the city situated so close to multiple outdoor activities, there is no need to worry about dressing appropriately unless you're planning to visit one of the churches. Are there public bathrooms? There are a handful of public bathrooms that are mostly near the beaches and the marina. Luckily, all of them are free to use and kept pretty clean. And that, my friends, is the essential things you'll want to know before visiting the city of Lagos.
Yes.
There are multiple ways of getting into Lagos, but none of them involve flying. The city doesn't have an international airport, and the closest one is in Faro, which is still an hour-long drive away, making air travel not ideal. So assuming you'll be coming from either Porto or Lisbon, you have 3 options: taking a train, a bus, or renting your own vehicle. The train is the option that we chose, and here's a tip. Using the Comboios de Portugal app is by far the best and cheapest way for booking tickets. From Lisbon, the train will take you to the city of Tunes, where you'll transfer to the regional line, and it'll drop you off just minutes from the old town. Taking a bus is also a great option from Lisbon as well. It's usually 50 to 75% cheaper, and it also is faster by an hour than the train. The only downside is the train usually has more legroom, access to your luggage, a food car, and more scenic views. The final and most expensive option is just taking the plunge and renting your own vehicle.
The open road.
Now that you've made it in, what's the dealio with getting around town? If you're exploring the old town,
Walking.
is the only option. There are so many small, narrow cobblestone streets, I can't imagine doing it any other way. The old fort and a few of the beaches and cliffs are also within walking distance of the old town. Going a little further out to Ponta de Piedade or the surrounding beaches, you could follow our lead and take the hour walk or just use one of the two rideshare apps. Prices for taking one are considerably lower compared to the US, so even short trips might be worth grabbing one. The two rideshare apps are Bolt and Uber. We would recommend using Bolt since it's slightly cheaper than Uber.
Recommendation.
Now deciding where to rest your head at night is actually more important than you think. The town is very hilly, and the cliffs, the old town, and the beaches are spread out in a pretty large area. If you're looking to spend equal times at all three of those, and you're a fan of
Walking.
you should look for accommodations around this area. Not too close to the old town that you'll need earplugs to sleep at night because of the bars, and not too far away from the cliffs and beaches. If you are looking to stay in the old town, just be aware that it might be a little difficult getting a taxi or a rideshare to pick you up due to tourists filling up the streets.
Mine?
We stayed in an Airbnb around here, and it had fantastic views, with great access to the old town, the bus, and the train station, but it was pretty time consuming to get to the cliffs or to the beach.
Well, where's all the people?
This is our required list for anyone looking to visit Lagos, especially if you only have one day to do it. First up, we have the spectacular limestone cliff formations that can be seen all along the southern coast of Lagos. The cliffs have been sculpted over thousands of years from the wind and ocean erosion. You can find hidden beaches that are only accessible during the low tide and majestic arches and tunnels all along the coastline. The trails around Ponta da Piedade is the perfect place to view the rock formations from above while looking out over the ocean, and it really shines at sunset. You can find a bunch of wildlife and flowers in the area, as well as a wooden boardwalk if the dirt path is a little bit too scary for you.
I'm scared. I'm not scared. You're scared.
There's a handful of companies that'll rent you a stand-up paddleboard or a kayak located around here, so you can explore the cliffs close up. There's also a bunch of different boat tours that are available for you as well. Second on our list is the Lagos Old Town. The winding, narrow cobblestone streets and whitewashed buildings provide a perfect opportunity to get lost. We would recommend just putting your phone directions away and spending a few hours just wandering whichever way your heart desires. The entire Old Town used to be protected by city walls, which can still be seen in a few places in the town. The charming cafes, shops, and hidden courtyards all add to the vibrant and welcoming atmosphere that makes Lagos Old Town a must-see for visitors. And here's a tip: if you want to feel like the only tourists in town, be sure to walk around right at sunrise. Finally, last on our list is the beaches. The diversity of beaches here is pretty stunning, from expansive long golden sandy beaches to hidden ones that are only accessible by a long wooden staircase. The three beaches here will be the most busy due to its proximity to the old town, so if you want to find one that's less crowded, you'll have to work a little harder and climb up and down the stairs. Just don't blame me if there's like 5 times as many people in the beach compared to this video.
The language.
Portuguese is the official language of Portugal, and it can be heard all over town. The language is very similar to Spanish, so saying hola for hello and ciao for goodbye makes it very easy to communicate with the locals' native language. But with that said, English can easily be used for basically all communication. We didn't encounter any situation where we couldn't get by using English. The restaurants had English menus, even the boat tours to the cliffs had English speakers. Learning a handful of words and phrases ahead of time is our
Recommendation.
Especially the phrase thank you, which is obrigado for men or obrigada for women.
My tummy is a rumbling.
The food scene in Lagos is pretty expansive, with cuisine heavily focused on fresh seafood from the Atlantic. Clams, prawns, sardines, octopus, or cod seem to make it into most dishes at a Portuguese restaurant. Flavorful stews and spicy peri-peri chicken were also very common dishes available. Basically what I'm saying here is every dish we had was very flavorful, tasty, and included local ingredients. Oddly enough, if you're a fan of Indian food, Lagos will not let you down. Due to centuries-old connections and recent migration patterns from India, the city has a shockingly large amount of Indian restaurants to choose from. Finally, I can't leave the food section without mentioning the custard tart. The flaky crust and creamy middle with just a dust of cinnamon is a great dessert no matter the time of day. You should be able to find them in any of the bakeries or cafes, and it'll cost anywhere from €1.50 to €3.
Can we go now?
By far, summer seems like the perfect time to visit Lagos. You'll have nice warm weather and very little rain, and the water will be warm enough to enjoy all day long. The problem with this is that every other tourist is looking to take advantage of that exact thing. The better option would be travel during the shoulder seasons, which is May, June, and September. The crowds will be smaller, and the prices for your accommodations will also be a little cheaper. We visited during the second half of April and lucked out with perfect sunny days, but the ocean waters were still ice cold. If you're looking to skip town because you can't take any more of these charming old town streets, we have some suggestions for you. The city of Sagres, which has the southwesternmost point on the continental Europe, or otherwise known as
The edge of the world.
It's a 30-minute drive or a 1-hour bus ride from Lagos, and it similarly features dramatic cliffs and picturesque beaches with fewer crowds. A 35-minute drive or a train ride away, you'll find the city of Silvash. If you're into history, this is the place for you. It features a giant red sandstone castle along with Gothic cathedral and charming cobblestone streets. And another city that's a 35-minute drive away is Carvaero. The city and the beach itself is an Instagram influencer's dream, with picturesque views all over the area. But besides that, it also has a coastal boardwalk over the limestone cliffs, and very close by, many different sea caves along the coastline. Here's a handful of attractions in the city that might be worth checking out if you have the time. Porta de Pontu de Bonderu is a fortress complex that was built in the 17th century and completely free to enter. Rent a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard to explore the cliffs close up and see the hidden sea caves that are otherwise unreachable. The Slave Market Museum. It's in the location of Europe's first slave market and provides an important history lesson. The Church of St. Anthony is now a museum and features Baroque architecture. And finally, we have Mia Prala Beach, which is just on the other side of Ben Suffren River. It is the largest beach in Lagos and stretches over a couple miles. And that, my friends, is the Lagos City Guide. If you're looking for more videos like this in the future, as they say in literally every other YouTube video, like and subscribe.